Senior Air Safety Investigator from the National Transportation Safety Board. I arrived on scene this morning. We were notified of the fatal accident yesterday. I want to go through the preliminary details that we know to date. The airplane was an Aviat aircraft. It's an S111B. That is an experimental single-engine airplane with a Lycoming propeller engine. The pilot was fatally injured. That was the sole occupant on board, and we would like to extend our condolences to the family. Every single accident is a tragedy. The NTSB role is to not only figure out what happened here, but why the accident occurred. The preliminary radar track that we have shows that the airplane departed from the Wiffredale Airport in Chapmansboro, Tennessee. Departed around 1:45 p.m. local time. The accident occurred around 2 p.m. We have the flight track that basically shows the airplane maneuvering right around that airport and the Cumberland River area. So those are really the basic facts that we know to date. This investigation will look into multiple areas. Everything is on the table until we slowly and methodically move different findings off the table to suggest that they weren't a factor. So some of those areas, obviously the airplane, looking at flight control continuity, looking at the engine, making sure, determining whether or not the airplane and engine were functional, looking at the weather conditions involved at the time of the accident, looking at the pilot's qualifications, and the type of flying that was being conducted. Those are just standard areas that any investigation would look into. While we're here, obviously the investigation it is complicated by the fact that the airplane is still on the water. We're working on a plan, hopefully in the next 12 to 24 hours, to get that airplane off the water. We will move the wreckage to a secure facility in Springfield, Tennessee, where that investigation will continue for at least 12 months. And so the first report that the NTSB will issue is a preliminary report that will be issued in about 10 days. That'll list all the factual information we've learned to date. A final report can take anywhere from 12 to 18 months, where we will issue a factual report, an analysis, and the probable cause. And every single NTSB investigation, the whole purpose is to issue safety recommendations in effort to help prevent this from never happening again. So if there is something, not every investigation results in a safety recommendation, but if there is something that's possible, we're certainly the agency to do that. I do want to just share one additional word. We have a witness email account that can accept a witness report. So if anyone has information relevant to the accident, or even, of course, saw this accident, we're very interested in getting your report. That is witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that's witness@ntsb.gov. Lastly, I just really want to thank the first responders for all the support that we're getting here, assisting with the recovery and getting this airplane to a location where we can continue our investigation. So happy to answer any questions.
Can you talk a little bit about what methods you're thinking about using to get the plane out of the water?
So right now it looks like different flotation bags to float the airplane, and then to use a boat to basically just slowly pull the airplane down the river to a boat dock where it would be put on a trailer and moved out. So that's gonna be the best process right now to preserve that airplane in the best condition possible, so that once it gets ashore, we can look at it. I have seen the airplane where it is right now on the river. There's not a lot that we can tell, so we need to get it to shore.
The fact that the plane is in water, does that prove any complications to your investigation?
With the fact that it's in the water is a complicating factor, but at the same time, there are many components that can withstand being in water for a short period of time, that we'll still be able to do our best to determine whether or not there was any sort of mechanical malfunction. So it's more of a delay complication versus something that could maybe hinder the totality of the investigation. So we're just we're as eager as everyone to get it out so we can properly look at the whole airplane.
You said this was an experimental type airplane. Can you elaborate on that? Because we hear that quite often with helicopters and small aircraft.
Yes, so this was an experimental aircraft, and that means that this airplane was just simply certified in a different category. It versus being certified perhaps in a normal category or a transport category. The Federal Aviation Administration has just different categories, and depending upon how the airplane is manufactured and whether or not it's built from a kit or built by the owner, that's what determines whether or not this airplane falls in that category. So it's really just a different airworthiness classification, and there are thousands of airplanes that are flying under that certification standard. So it is just a different way to certify your airplane from the FAA.
Do you know, was this a kit or built by the owner? Do you know that yet?
We don't know how the airplane was manufactured, but we'll certainly that'll be part of the investigation.
Thank you.
Yeah.